hoping for a better performance here against Team Secret, who's, is a team we've talked a lot about them, mostly because they started off in the lower bracket. We've done a lot of matches with theirs.
Oh, I thought the crowd was going to go for the long Seb.
Well, somebody's still going.
That's impressive.
We've got the, I haven't seen this one. The C players really like the, what's cooking. Ooh. All right, so how do you think Keen has done for them, for TNC when the draft? Because Kyle definitely has a lot of favoritism towards Secret for this lineup.
Did you hear what I said before the last pick of TNC?
No.
I said it's a free OD game.
Yeah. So you actually prefer TNC's lineup? Kyle was afraid it was too slow.
I think OD, though, is so good against both Tide and Ember.
Yeah.
So for Tidehunter, he just, you hit him so many times, and you'll continuously stack charges for yourself, and you just steal int. And Tide has a low int pool / mana pool, which is why, as Tide for the most part, if you're going to go for phase, you have to go drums. If you don't go for either of those, you have to go for arcanes.
Yeah.
It's just the given. OD ruins you in that regard. It doesn't really matter if you have your cleanse, if he just gets rid of all your mana, because it's the same thing of not being able to ravage if you're dead, have no mana. The downside of their lineup, though, is I do think it's a really weird tempo, because they have this mid-game lineup that doesn't actually want to take mid-game fights. They just want to farm with Troll, Mag, and Power.
Mm-hmm.
But so does Secret. They have their Tide plus Enigma combo that they ran yesterday against OG.
Getting some early damage on Zai. I think everybody knows that there's no way they can actually kill Zai here, and they're just trying to do a bit of harassment damage. Zai has planned for that, though, with the triple tango start.
I think this is the right idea. I think you try to slow down Zai's game. Because at some point, Nisha will catch up, and I feel like a lot of teams, they just don't respect Zai. He's able to farm. He's able to control the mid-game movements a little bit too much when he has a good start. So being able to get rid of the person that controls and dictates a lot of these early maneuvers, plus Tidehunter's a hero that just requires a lot of farm. So it's a different approach to try to beat Secret. Because I feel like the blueprint is sort of there. They're a greedy team and all that jazz, but it's an entirely different thing to be actually able to execute.
It does mean they're leaving Kuko alone as a Magnus at bottom lane. And Secret, if the lanes just kind of go fine, they're going to be in a big advantage due to the fact they have this Enigma, the only jungler currently in Dota. So Yapzor is just kind of AFKing there, as long as Zai is still able to get something and they don't lose that mid lane matchup horrendously. It is going to go the way of the OD though, right?
Yeah, it's a very good OD matchup. It's hard for Ember to stick there because he's another hero with a low mana pool. I could very easily see mid one go for something like drums, just so that he can artificially beef his up. So he doesn't just get hit twice and run out of mana entirely.
Yeah. We've seen mid one before. Whenever he has these rough matchups, he'll pick up level 5, and he's willing to rotate before he gets his ultimate.
Yeah.
That's I think that kind of aggression is what separates mid one from a lot of other mid players, is that he has a more cerebral understanding of how he can get his game back. Look at this haste rune. They are going to be able to go for the kill onto RML. This would be massive if they can actually get it, but there is going to be the fairy fire, the toss back there from Tims as well. Puppy doesn't get the kill, but he does at least force a rotation and maybe one free wave for the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, and that's going to help out a little bit, but still, it's this top lane where Zai still only level 2.
The important thing for this lane, right, is that they pull it back. Whenever you have this switch up where you do an aggro lane, but they put a single off laner in that safe lane, you want to be able to pull that lane away from the tower. That's supposed to be like the inherent advantage here. You can see TNC has done a really good job of that, leaving all the range creeps alive so it can push in. And Zai, that means he's going to have a longer distance to run back to the safety of his tower. Just means a lot more harassment damage.
I would like to stress, by the way, we've said in previous casts, but as a Tidehunter, you don't want to be behind in CS. You are a hero that needs to scale. It is so important that your hero is more than just a Ravage bot, because the cooldowns are so long on all of your actual effective abilities, which is really just Ravage. Gush, Anchor Smash, these spells alone don't really do too much. As Zai getting on pretty hard here, but it's just harass, keep him out of the wave.
So I feel like sometimes you just have to like bite the bullet and go for CS and accept the fact that he might. Nice telekinesis, skewer back in, as well as the shockwave to pull him that little bit of extra distance for another tower shot. Fortunately, Nisha had plenty of magic stick charges, so he will survive, but that's definitely gonna hurt the regen of the Spectre. Back over to top lane where Zai is being gone on again. He does also have a lot of stick charges, but he may not survive. He doesn't actually get ensnared. He's trapped inside the trees right now. It's going to force TNC to really dive underneath his tower if they want to be able to kill him. The anchor smash just means that AU doesn't do any damage until Wave of Terror goes out. AU, knowing that it'd be better for him to just reset, goes ahead and dives to the tower. He doesn't mind giving the Tidehunter the gold. He just doesn't want to give him the experience.
100% the right call there, as this bottom lane just doesn't have that same kill potential. That is the downside of laning a Spectre, is for the most part, you're pairing him with a very offensive hero, but he himself doesn't provide anything for the kills. Nisha just really just a right click at this point, almost dying himself earlier, as so far laning phase wise, TNC off to a pretty good start. But this is all with the caveat that
they really think they can do this. The telekinesis is going to stop the shackles. Cuckoo is going to have to skewer over to his shrine. I'll wait for the Rubik so they can both use it together. Meanwhile, on the other side, AU should be able to get the other bounty rune, but for now, he wants to try and make a rotation into mid lane before the Ember Spirit picks up his level 6.
This would be a pretty good timing for him too. But mid one, just backing in and out. He does have the Flame Guard available too. It's not the easiest kill. So the Rubik also comes for this. He's just trying to let the wave push into him, as
not only the most Ember Spirit games, but the most prolific as well. 70% win rate compared to like maybe?
That's a high sample size too.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, I was talking to a few players about it, and mid one is one of those players, like, they respect him. If you poll the players, personally, a lot of them will say he's the best because he does the most with the least. Like, he doesn't need farm to be very effective. He's one of those players that, you know, he just doesn't really need items to make plays.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of players that do need items to make plays. It's not really a knock on them, but from a playstyle perspective, where you do have greedier players like Yapster on your team, it is important that with just boots and a bottle, mid one can set up for kills around the map, as they're gonna make this go on the Tidehunter. AU has the stun available, but the instant Kraken.
He's just taking no levels. Zai, knowing that he had to prioritize his survivability, goes for the 3 levels of Kraken Shell.
Yeah, plus he's got the raindrops, makes good use of them.
But yeah, I can see entirely what you're talking about with mid one. I mean, he's one of the, like, if this was another mid player, if we were talking about Sumail or maybe in this mid lane, we would be a lot more concerned about him having a bad matchup.
Yeah.
Where he's only 19 and 12 compared to the 33 and 20. Ember Spirit especially, I think, is able to shrug off some bad laning phases just by running around and killing people.
I mean, Sumail, especially players like Miracle, for example, is at top. Zai gonna get gone on again. He just anchor smashes his way out of this one, and they're gonna lay out the stun, but the TPs are coming in, and this was the rotations that we were talking about from mid one.
AU trying to get into the trees, gets a healing salve for a little bit, but there is that Sleight of Fist that actually cancels the healing salve. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they're trying to go for a dive onto Cuckoo. We're gonna watch AU die. Back over to bottom, where Cuckoo barely survives through that last dagger. It was a good play by TNC. I think the idea of shoving the Tidehunter out of that big wave that was pushing into the tier 1 tower. But the unfortunate part is there's always going to be Yapsor. I mean, he has a free game. He's just jungling the entire time. So he can always TP in when you need him the most.
Yeah, he's already level 6 too. And I mean, I feel like this is going to be the combo that Secret just continues to try to abuse until they lose with it. We're going to be a little bit greedier. What can you do to stop it? And if you can't stop it, just keep doing it.
Yeah. That has definitely been, it feels like the puppy drafting philosophy for so long, is just be able to both show that you can counter, like quote unquote broken heroes, and then also just continue to draft the same kind of ideas if they're successful and force the enemy teams to show that they can beat it.
I think there are a lot of captains that are obsessed with having quote unquote different looks every game.
Yeah.
As bottom lane, Nisha is going to dagger away. Do they have any sort of The banish is there.
They can get the skewer back for the extra distance towards Armel as well. There's going to be the shockwave, and they're just going to go ahead and pop that ultimate from the Spectre. That'll allow him to get away for free. Once again, mid one's going to show up. As soon as there's a fight, he TPs in and does kill a support hero.
And that's twice now that a gank attempt has ended with a death. And Secret, I mean, they love playing this style. You go on them, they'll respond, they'll get a kill, and then they'll reset the map. By the time you go for another move, they'll have TPs up. Mid one will just continuously make that move as
it's going to burn down. All of his mana is gone, so this Ember Spirit is definitely dead, and they're going to be able to get the skewer on a Puppey as well. Good read by Armel. That's just some OD experience there, knowing you could just imprison and drop the bomb. 3-3 now is TNC, even up the kill score, have a slight lead in net worth, and the mid one Ember Spirit game continues to be rather rough. I mean, getting 2 kills from the supports, that was okay, but this death will certainly reset things.
The weird part about it, though, is the main win condition is going to be this team fight plus this Nisha Spectre. So as long as Nisha's having an okay game, there's always going to be pretty good opportunities for them as Cuckoo runs at him, just kind of taunting. And the bounty rune advantage looks like it'll go 3-1.
They're going to get 3 again. TNC just knowing that the passive setup of Team Secret, where their most active hero is Ember Spirit, and he's had the worst game out of all the cores. They've got this 4 position that's going to jungle, can't really move around and make things happen. So TNC knows that they have to get a bounty rune advantage pretty much every single spawn just to offset what Yapster is doing, farming up all these neutral creeps.
I looked to game 1 of their series yesterday, where OG decided to try to beat this greediness by just going all out aggression, and that failed. And then in game number 2, they themselves picked a little bit greedy when they went for the morph PL, was it? Or was it Troll PL?
Troll PL, I think, because they had PL against Morphling.
Yeah. And so you had a much greedier lineup in that one.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem like either method worked, but this time I think with TNC, it's about not getting pressured by the timer that you're on versus Secret, because I feel like a lot of people put this artificial timer on themselves when they're playing against this team, but you can just relax, calm down, take your game evenly. Don't commit your cores to stuff that you don't want to commit them to.
Oh, Tim's. They're just willing to throw down the Serpent Wards right away. He does get a lot of damage on Nisha as he threw out both the Fade Bolt and the stolen Spectral Dagger from earlier, but not enough to actually get the kill, and our Spectre is now second in net worth as a result of that.
I think that OD can often be a slow hero. Like, I agree with Kyle in a way. As they
they're just going to throw down the Ravage with the Malphus, timing up nicely, but there is going to be the RP. Going to skewer him back into the tower. That means he's going to give up his life. The Black Hole immediately grabbing all these heroes with the help of the Eidolons. They're doing a lot of damage to AU. Zai is going to try and get out of here. They commit for the eventual Spirit Kill, almost getting him with the Eidolons. They just need 1 or 2 more shots. Not quite enough, and he will be able to heal himself up. Meanwhile, the Tidehunter is still trying to get away, but Gabby does manage to get the ensnare, and now Armel gets free time just to beat on Zai and start racking up that intelligence. A great play there from Cuckoo. I like the fact that he did actually skewer the 2 heroes back. It means he couldn't survive, but he gets the 2 kills for his team.
You saw him make that split-second decision. Because for a second, he was gonna peel off.
Yeah.
He's gonna say, it's whatever, I'll live. They both probably live, but he'll definitely live there as a result of that, because they have no more reach after that point, no gap closing. But he makes the decision, like you said, to sacrifice his life to ensure a kill as Cuckoo getting got on at bottom again. Nisha diving with the rest of his team. They see no TP come out. That was what the hesitation was.
They know they can make that play, right? Because they already made an aggressive move at top where there was a bunch of TP rotations. Those teleports are still on cooldown. TNC could not save that bottom, either the tower nor the hero.
It's not a great sign, though, how far behind this Ember is. And like I was saying about Kyle's point about this OD being too greedy, I think it is, but when you give him a matchup like this and you know that he scales against all the cores, I don't think you feel that bad.
Yeah.
You have a good way to cancel Black Hole. OD feels so good to play against Tide, let me tell you. Same with Ember Spirit. Like, all your items at some point will counter the Ember. You'll get a Hex, you'll get a Blink Hex, you'll be able to get on top of him. Ember's just not able to really catch up and farm. He has to fight into you.
And I feel like OD is, he has a much stronger mid-game timing, similar to the way we were talking about Storm Spirits. I don't know if it's just because he farms faster because of the splash, but every single time I'm watching the ODs, maybe it's the Null Talisman max out where you just get a bunch of these early stat items, but these ODs, like they feel very threatening at 15, 25 minutes. It's not the old OD where, you know, your timing was so late into the game.
Yeah, now this is the great part for their lineup is this troll just gonna get empowered to get a free Battle Fury for himself.
Oh no!
That
What happened, Yapsor? Is that stolen just, I guess, maybe a long time ago?
It was.
It was.
It's
Okay,
almost out.
okay. So he's been holding on to that one ever since the. I thought for some reason Yapsor just never casted a spell, but
No,
Tim's just hasn't seen the opportunity yet. He's gonna farm up all those Serpent Wards. Doesn't cost them the tier 2, but the next Serpent Ward drop will probably take it.
They do almost have the Greaves now on this Enigma, whose second in net worth on his team is Cuckoo. Just kind of fishing right now. He is very low in net worth, but this is the life of a Magnus that doesn't even have maxed out. Oh, as he fakes out the RP, maybe hoping that mid one got rooted there.
We see a Maelstrom build for mid one, but don't think he can really defend this. Oh, he's gonna be able to get the chains with the teleports in, but there is the skewer out. Cuckoo's gonna be slowed down by the gush. They did not get the slight into Shackles combo, so they can't get a kill.
This time it'll be Secret that take 3 bounty runes themselves.
Yeah, that's a bit curious because TNC was doing such a good job before positioning themselves for the bounty runes. They just gave up the right side of the map entirely. The sad part is they've just got to plant someone down at this bottom lane unless they're going to give up on that tier 2 Secret. Knowing that the Spectre's already setting up. He's already pushing out that bottom lane. He knows that the tier 2 is low enough that TNC may rotate someone in to try and defend it. So that's a good opportunity for this big smoke gank, where they've got both the Black Hole and the Ravage. You're either going to get a fast pick off here or a big team fight. It looks like it's just going to be the Vengeful Spirit kill unless Armel, don't do it, man. That imprisonment is not worth it.
He would have definitely died there.
Yeah.
In that position. Because by the time the Rubik can actually steal the Enigma Black Hole, he'll have to get so close to the rest of the heroes. And Secret have this chip damage that's great on their Ember. Like he can get to that backline, make it hard for the Rubik to just press up on him.
You know what I like about that? It felt like a win-win scenario. You know, Secret was either going to take that bottom tower with just the Siege Wagon push that was happening,
yeah,
or they're going to get a team fight and they could drop Serpent Wards. And if they don't get it bottom, well, they can easily rotate behind this mid tower and they just have the positioning advantage over TNC. Very difficult tower to defend. But maybe that is where TNC's slower lineup, they are bleeding out objectives against a Shadow Shaman Enigma. And haven't really done much to take objectives themselves, just recently taking that safe lane tower.
Oh, Puppy. Gonna start this right now, Zai.
Zai with the Invis rune. Puppy really wants to force these heroes into a bad position. That's where the Ravage goes. The three-man Black Hole set up with the Amber Spirit jumping in on top. A beautiful team fight, all baited by Captain Puppy.
And that Invis from Zai, no one had any idea that was coming. They had a sentry placed themselves on the side of Secret,
yeah.
So Zai knew, there's no way they know I'm here. I'm just gonna walk up. You saw the OD Astral, he runs forward, Secret all still in the area, and they might have been...
You could tell Puppy was really calling for it. He's like, we're forcing this fight.
Absolutely.
They're like, they're gonna jump on me or something, think I'm out of position, and we're just gonna get this beautiful Ravage.
You can steal this Black Hole, sure, but actually getting in position to use it is a different thing entirely.
Yeah.
Plus the Venge, you're gonna see again in the replay. I mean, this was so free for them. Zai, they have a sentry there. Puppy, he places this for his team because he knows that Zai's Invis is gonna walk in, and this is to absolutely ensure that this team fight is won as a result. It was so well done. This was a team fight that could not go wrong for Secret as a result of that sentry being placed down. So Puppy, you're correct. He completely read the situation, even mid one in disbelief. It's like, that was sick.
Oh, look at this. TNC being a little sneaky. Oh, but the tire scan. They know. The There's no Ravage, there's no Black Hole, but Cuckoo is a bit low, and not all of TNC. Well, now they're going to be here.
They have no way to get into the pit,
Zai's going to try and get inside the pits if he can. Cuckoo, all right, they start laying out the intelligence. Armel's going to just choke it all up on side. They aren't going to be able to get that Aegis. They also steal Serpent Wards and get their own pair.
Oh, and Zai. This is the scariest part about playing Tidehunter versus OD like that.
Yeah.
You just get popped every time.
And I don't think like Secret knew they couldn't take the team fight. As soon as Armel runs into the Tidehunter and Tide doesn't have Ravage and he's just like a bot, he's just soaking up intelligence away from the Tidehunter. Like you can't possibly take that fight.
Yeah, that was a great decision by TNC. I really like that aggressive, decisive play. Secret at the same time, they were trying to do one of those things where you show your presence and hope that's enough.
Yeah.
And you'll scare lesser teams out of that situation because they'll second guess, they'll leave the pit, and all of a sudden, you kind of put them in a stalemate position. And TNC, I will say the biggest downside of the lineup is they don't really have natural pipe buyers, because I think they actually need one really badly versus Secret's lineup.
Yeah, there's going to be this Radiance that's now there. We've got the Ember Spirits. Okay. Well, this time Puppy really is a free kill. He's not baiting a Ravage Black Hole. Deso. So he just feels like he needs more physical damage out of his Ember Spirit. They're going to be able to take that mid tower off the Aegis.
Gabby's
trying to save the Aegis, but mid one knows all he has to do is just keep pace, make sure you get the slight. Good swap will actually save the Troll's life. Make sure he keeps that Aegis. They still have so much timing on it, they can use this as a way to take another objective, perhaps pushing in that top tier 2, or maybe even the bottom off lane.
Still, Nisha, even without the Empower, now that he's got the Radiance, you expect this hero to be behind, but this is a very nice timing for all these items he's got. He's got 1,200 gold on top of that. He's farming up a Storm as Secret. After that mid tower, their lead's been cut to 2K. But I do think that this is the ideal way to play against them, is not to rush things.
Okay.
Because I felt like that was OG's trap from,
Yeah.
from the last series. It just felt, they felt rushed at all times. They felt like they had to make moves.
And in a way, like having such a greedy lineup, it forces the enemy team. You know what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, it's actually really brilliant if you think about their drafting principle.
Yeah.
It's just always put the pressure on the enemy team. Everyone on our team knows exactly what we should be doing.
We know when they're going to push, where they're going to head to.
As long as it's not your, sometimes like they have a tendency to get too greedy. But I'm impressed with both teams right now. Is TNC playing a very patient game themselves.
3-man smoke up by them. They did go, what about this early BKB from Gabby? This is a game where both sides can be greedy and can focus on the big late game, but Gabby is saying, I want to win fights right now.
I think it's also to match against the Spectre's Radiance timing. Get rid of that mischance for yourself.
So there's this big power spike in the Radiance, and Gabby's saying, I'm going to make sure you don't actually have an advantage in team fighting.
Plus, you want to try to ruin Puppy's game. Get on top of him, kill him in 2 seconds. That removes all the major disable, for the most part, on the side of Secret. Then they have to rely on their heavy cooldowns.
And it's not like thanks to having a mag on your team with the Empower, like this troll is going to continue to farm really well. He doesn't need any more stat items. He'll still get his big late game 6 slotted if we go another 20 to 30 minutes. 7 to 10, 22 minutes in right now. Pretty even game, slight lead for Team Secret.
And Cuckoo's pretty much playing like a 4 or 5.
Yeah.
He walks by Ancients, he stacks him, doesn't farm anything himself.
Is that concerning to you, the fact that you're just giving all your net worth to this OD troll? Whereas Secret's lineup is going to be a lot more well-balanced in that regard.
I mean, they're relying on their troll to be able to beat the Spectre heads up.
It's a decent amount of gold for Gabby. They're going to trade out towers here, both of them. Both teams going for the offlane tier 1. Secret is a little bit faster, so they can get in position to defend if they want.
Doesn't look like they will, though.
They're not defending, but
I think Gabby should just commit for this.
Yeah, he should commit. Team Secret knows that somebody's going to show up here in this top lane. It's going to be the Rubik. They're going to mass teleport in to see if they can catch out this Ember Spirit. They're going to drop it and see if they can kill all this mana, and they will be able to get the root out from Gabby. That was very nicely timed. CZI, get the swap. Stop that TP. Beautifully done. That is 2 cores that are going to be dying here. Secret.
And again, it's about that patience. Opportunities like this will present themselves if you're patient. Don't overreact. 2 cores do go down. The gold lead still stays the same, but BKB is now complete on this OD.
Does our Rubik have maxed out telekinesis as well as his passive? Pretty much, yeah. So he had a very, very long single target disable there.
I mean, all the lanes that you would normally see the Magnus push out or your offlaner deal with, they're just giving to this Rubik.
Yeah.
Because again, Cuckoo, out of all the items he could buy, maybe like a pipe would be okay, but other than that, like he's really just there to walk around and empower his troll and try to enable Gabby's game as much as possible.
Meanwhile, if you enable this Rubik, I mean, he's got such great spells to steal with the Ravage as well as the Black Hole. You want to give him Ether Lens, Blink Dagger. You want to give him as many opportunities to steal these spells as possible. You can see big difference between Tim's net worth and the average for a Rubik. We pretty much have swapped our 3 and 4 positions.
Yeah, but a more passive game because of the patience exhibited by both teams. I think Secret's more used to teams running at them at this point. And TNC's just not really obliging. They're saying, we'll play the exact same game you guys do.
Yeah.
Whenever you guys make moves, we'll chill.
You can tell they have put in quite a study on Team Secret. That's the advantage of making it into, while you were in the lower bracket, making it into that next round is just being able to sit there, watch Team Secret play out their match, really try and find a strategy that you think can win. And I'm sure they watched that first game of OG and they were like, this is not, like that's the kind of game that maybe old TNC would love to be able to play.
Yeah.
But, you know, if OG wasn't able to pull it off, let's try and come up with something different.
And this is likely where the influence of a coach helps you.
Yeah.
Because he'll give you a different look. Like maybe before this, no, you're completely right, because I'm so used to seeing a TNC squad. Like when we casted them during WESG, it was 20 minutes or less.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep running at them, fight nonstop. They'll eventually break under pressure. But in this game, this is a hard swerve from what we normally see from them. It's, we'll go into the later games, we'll farm, we'll show you that we can exhibit a different play style.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And so Aghanim Scepter next for the Rubik.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And it'll always come down to one big fight with
Yeah.
both these lineups.
I mean, there is that potential of a big burst of push. And Team Secret, I think they always do set this up where they always make sure that the team fight is on the enemy side of the map so they can, because they always have at least one objective taker here in the Shadow Shaman. So if they do win a fight, manage to drop Serpent Wards on a tier 3, that could just swing the game really dramatically. I mean, it's been dead even for a long time now with, you know, Secret having 3, 2, maybe 1K net worth advantage, but it's very minimal. But we could see, you know, one team fight is going to lead into enough objectives that we're going to see a significant shift in who holds the control, and that's why both teams have been rather tense when it comes to taking engagements. No one really trying to go out there too much. Gabby, with a completed Scotty, still has that 10-second BKB.
I'd like to see a Vlad's on somebody picked up too. Unless Troll's just going to straight up go for a Satanic at some point. Which I'd be okay with too.
Yeah.
Just the status resistance.
Well, even just the raw, like, the bonus damage on heroes that are pretty stat heavy, like the OD and
get the
Troll.
rune.
They're going to be able to get the runes. No, it's going to be the RP, but still, that may be enough with the BKB blown. The Black Hole's not going to be there in time. Ember Spear does die, popping the back line, catching the Vengeful Spirit to be able to stop the cancel on the Black Hole, but because the BKB was up on
They have
Gabby,
no more ults.
they couldn't do enough damage. They're going to be able to kill the supports. Yes, there's going to be the Ravage now. No battle trance, but the hammer drop by Armel. Not enough to finish up any of these heroes. They're going to go for Puppy out of all of them. Zai was super low. They also could have maybe gone for the Spectre, but instead it's the 5 position.
Oh, you have to yeah.
They needed
For
a better
TNC,
kill than that.
They had to realize like the Tide was the much better target.
Yeah.
Even though he is underfarmed, like Puppy's Shaman at that point, he's paper.
Yeah.
That looked like it was going to be an okay team fight. If the Troll gets his trance off, that is a one fight, I feel.
Oh, for sure, for sure. He definitely underestimated how much damage was going to be thrown his way. I mean, he did a great job initially, you know, getting on top of the heroes, popping his BKB, so the Black Hole did very little to him.
That was also Yapsor's mistake, though. He waited just half a second too long on the Black Hole. He assumed, oh, my Ember Spirit will be okay for this like quarter second. If he's there just a little bit sooner, maybe your Ember's able to reset that fight anyways.
Yeah.
And then you waste the BKB timer of the Troll, which isn't the worst trade in the world. And you see that Secret's priority, getting on top of this Rubik, getting on top of this Venge. High priority for Nisha.
I love that Puppy just ran at the Vengeful Spirit. He's covering Yapsor at that point.
It's about putting space between all the heroes that can deal with the black hole and just creating this wall. That's why it's not as bad to play against the Rubik, against the Enigma, like a lot of people think, because if you can put this wall in front of yourself, it's not easy for Tims to just steal it every time. That's why the fights every single time, they look so split. It's very deliberate from the side of Secret. And TNC, I mean, they're naturally trying to close that gap. And that's why the cores came in from around.
Oh, they got the telekinesis onto the Ember Spirit, a big pick off on Tims, but they didn't quite have the damage. Now the BKB is going to go off, but they need to be able to save the swap. Gabby's going to be okay. They need to get up to the high ground, though. They're going to lose their Vengeful Spirit. The imprisonment actually, buy him a little bit of time. BKB forced to use on Gabby. That's the real tough part. They did not want to have to use that magic immunity. They wanted to be able to go into the Roshan pit during this timer where Black Hole and Ravage were on cooldown. Team Secret, though, showed that they could fight without it.
Yeah, it's pretty disastrous for them as Gabby without lifesteal, I mean, just doesn't feel that good.
Oh, Niche, I thought was a little bit scary there because I know Tims he stole Hex. So any hero that's too far out of position, they're going to be chain stunned for like 8 seconds. Those Blink Dagger picked up for our Tidehunter now, right? Now Nisha. Managed to get him with the Glimmer Cape, but they don't have any damage.
Yeah, the OD already begins to backpedal. Secret, we're heading over.
That was, I think, another bounty route advantage for Team Secret. As mid one's going to be able to chain 2 heroes together. Puppy's on his way to be able to get some follow-up disable. Zai's here, ready to go with Ravage. He's going to be able to get the 2 of them. The Skewer's already gone out, but they're going to try and focus on Gabby. Gabby does have his BKB, ready to go with the Battle Trance, but again, he doesn't want to have to use that ultimate, knowing that Secret will just run at them if he has that on cooldown.
So they trade the Ravage for another BKB charge, and they're getting pretty low on the Troll. I think it's 7 seconds now, yes?
That does mean they're missing that big teamfight spell.
Real big downside right now for Secret is they can't easily Rosh.
Yeah.
That means a lot of this map control that they're getting, it doesn't really lead to stuff that they want.
Yeah, they really don't have a single hero. Like, you have the minus armor of the Tide, and I guess you have Serpent Wards, but you don't have that, like, one big physical damage dealer. And the smoke up, mid one's just gonna spend his time. They do get a ward on the high ground, see if they can get a swamp somewhere in. Tim's gonna go for the back line. He does manage to spawn out the Spectre. Yapsor, he's gonna be able to catch him. The black hole goes down, but Armel's outside of it, just beats Yapsor to death, allowing Gabby to be able to escape. They manage to get the shackles on Gabby. Gabby is gonna be saved. Gets with the battle trap. The hammer goes down, does so much damage to everybody, but they need to be able to save this OD. Gabby does manage to get the ensnare, but does too much damage to himself, and now Gabby is gonna come back in. Armel just gets bursted down so quickly. They did so much damage to Team Secret, but they don't actually kill any of these heroes. It was only Yapsar who died at the start. They do have buybacks if they want to defend this Roshan, but it's going to put you in the hole net worth-wise against Team Secret, so...
And once the Rubik jumps in like that, it's so hard for them to disengage.
Yeah.
It's nearly impossible for Tims to get out. And without lifesteal on this Troll, I mean, he pops his ulti, and if he has lifesteal there, he probably is able to turn that around, honestly. He needs to be able to frontline for his OD. But not having a Satanic, he's really just paper. He's always forced to pop his BKB. He has no way to get himself back into the fight. No one's got a Vlad's on his team. Like, every single time he pops his ult, they just sort of kite him around. Wait
I'm
2
used
seconds.
to seeing these trolls like build up half their health pool during the battle trance timing because they're just doing so much damage.
Really think he needs a Satanic.
On top of that, he also got swapped after he popped the battle trance.
Yes, that was very unfortunate.
That killed a significant amount of his damage.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
And Secret playing very well there. Very patient with all their abilities.
Radiant's middle tower.
I mean, I don't mind what Tims did there, right? Because there was no Ravage from the Tide. So if he gets the pick off on Yapsor's Enigma, then
all the team fight's gone.
The big team fight's gone. The Ravage is going to go down here. They're going to get the pick off on the Troll. Gabby, no chance to get off the battle trance, and Team Secret, who smoked up for that one, will immediately go to the high ground, drop the Serpent Wards. And unless they get this pick off of the Ever Spirit, which it looks like they will, the long range hold there from Tim's. And now Nisha's already taken so much damage. Fortunately for Nisha, Armel doesn't have his ult.
Thought they would go for that.
Sanity's Eclipse.
They did have the Venge swap, but AU doesn't think it's worth it to trade his life or the Aegis.
And he could be right, as if they leave Nisha low, then he doesn't really feel comfortable coming forward and taking a fight. But they do still manage to get that melee barracks. The Hex are going to go down on the OD. They need to save this OD. Where's the swap from AU? It finally goes down, but Puppey still is holding him with the shackles. A secondary swap to use to stop Puppey this time around. Now the RP coming out. Armel actually blinking backwards, though. They're going to skewer these heroes away as they buy back. AU thought they were going to go for this engagement. They are going to try and finish up Nisha's Aegis for the cost of Cuckoo, but not even that happens. Armel, I mean, with that RP, him blinking backwards, I thought he was just going to go for it. I thought he was going to get aggressive at that point.
Yeah, and I think you should, considering both the Ember and the Shaman to that point were going to die in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. Well, full regen for Nisha, so he can just focus on farming, and he went from grabbing that recent butterfly, good counter to the OD.
Yeah,
and
also
now almost has a Scotty.
He's got to realize he has to swap out the Shaman. So that the shackles don't continue like that.
Or you need to swap far enough away that the shackles actually breaks.
But he's doing it from like, he just did it left to right essentially.
Yeah. 35-minute bounty runes.
And this is the scariest part about playing against
Nisha got greedy.
He's got the Aegis though.
There is going to be Armel here, and here comes Tidehunter. He doesn't have the Ravage just yet. They're going to try and take away this first life, but now mid one's here. Gabby's a bit low. He's going to be forced to pop his BKB. That Butterfly's doing so much to save this this damage that's coming out from the OD, and as he comes back, Armel blinks away. But now the Haunt coming out from Nisha wants to be able to chase down that OD if possible, but is a little bit scared of putting himself in an awkward position. Finally does jump to Armel, but that's just enough to force the BKB usage.
I will say that the item build from the Ember makes this game really hard for TNC because he just pokes at you repeatedly. And that's why I think you need the Lifesteal or the Status Stars, because this Ember hits you twice with his Sleight of Fist chains, and all of a sudden, as Troll, you're at like half HP. At that point, you just have to you have to use your BKB when you're running away. That's another charge wasted.
Yep.
You have no natural way to get that life back, so you have to just immediately run all the way back to base and rinse and repeat. That's why Ember as a hero, even though he did get countered by the OD, I mean, mid one is so good at utilizing the distance on this hero and the poke.
And he's also applying the Desolate status to every single one of these heroes with the Slight, so it means that Nisha's doing more damage. It also means that Midwan himself can do a ton of physical damage, especially if that target is also gushed up. Another tier 3 gonna fall fast. Gonna try and just get some poke damage on Nisha right now without fully committing too much. They're gonna skewer him back into an awkward position until he gets hexed. Oh, Cuckoo didn't react fast enough there with a blink in. Skewer instead just dies. Gonna be forced into the buyback there. Shackles into imprisonment. Well, that's not exactly what you wanted. And Team Secret is saying, well, fine, if you're not actually gonna try and fight us at this point.
As he walks into his own prison of death.
We'll just take the melee barracks. Range falls 2 and call it a day.
And this game, which for the majority of it was just a 2K lead for Secret, it snowballed so quickly.
Yeah, just 2 or 3 bad team fights in a row. TNC's now down by 18,000 net worth.
It feels like we just haven't seen what an ideal team fight's supposed to look like for TNC. The turnaround Black Hole, the turnaround Ravage from them.
Yeah.
Tim's hasn't really been able to get either. Because he consistently just has to run forward to initiate, which means that he gets out of position, they 3-shot him, and then they just move on to the next target.
And then if Secret actually starts the fight, then you've got a Haunted Spectre on top of you. We've seen how they'll blow the Ravage nice and early, and that big AoE sometimes catching Tim's.
It's just the thing about having to worry about so much in a team fight. It's like, we can't let them Ravage us, so we have to pop these BKBs. But Zai's demonstrated that he's willing to just go into our backline and use it. Then you're constantly thinking about this YapzOr Black Hole, and then you've got this Haunt that just makes everything really chaotic.
Yeah. Seems like they lack a lot of confidence in dealing with these things. If they had done a little bit better, if they just had the vengeful spirit. Swap on some of this, a nice ravage before the BKBs can go down, so much magic damage already done to the OD. Gabby does manage to get off his BKB. The skewer back from Kuko actually brings Nisha into a better position to chase down some of these heroes. The RP comes down, but it's not going to save anybody. They don't get any damage down. With the Malphite going out, they do manage to get the battle trance. There's Eula Scepter to throw him up in the air a little bit longer. Good play by mid one, delaying out that Troll's damage to keep Yapster alive, and now they've got 3 dead with no buyback, and that's it for TNC. They just could not stop losing team fights against Team Secret.
And they played this passive style well. They tried to match Team Secret's tempo, but they just didn't have the team fight to back it up.
Yeah. Combination of execution and a draft that just didn't function for TNC.